So I talk about foundation and alignment in all of my classes, but today we're really going to focus on building a strong foundation from the ground up and really what alignment looks like and feels like in your body so that you can access this in whatever pose that you're in. So I'm going to start by joining you on the mat. Remove the flesh from your sitting bones if you haven't already done it, pulling your glutes back behind you and root your sitting bones into the earth. Your sitting bones are the foundation of your seat when you're sitting with the earth. So feel them meeting the earth and just begin to rock forward and back. Begin to turn this into circles, coming a little bit forward, back. Feeling into your foundation of your seat and all the different parts of it. And you can rotate the other way. And notice when you come forward, if you can make sure that your stomach doesn't come forward. So we're not creating more of a curve in our back when we come forward. We're simply maintaining straightness through our torso and rotating this way. So see if you can change the way that you move so there's less rotation happening in your midsection and rather you're more pivoting onto your sitting bones. So come to stillness. Create a slight tuck in your tailbone and bring your belly button to your spine. Notice how those two actions are linked. When you tuck your tailbone a little bit, it naturally wants to bring your belly button to your spine, creating that engagement through your core. Imagine your breath creating length along the sides of your body. Can you breathe length and grow from your seat? Inhale your shoulders all the way up to your ears and exhale, bring them back behind you and relax them. Flip your palms to the ceiling. Rest them on your knees. We're going to tap into our Ujjayi breaths. This is breathing in and out through our nose while creating a slight toning at the back of our throat so it sounds like a sigh. So both your inhale and your exhale will be audible. And what this breath helps you do is control the speed in which you take your breath in. So you can slow your breathing down, slow your heart rate down, and just tap into your physical body, tap into the moment. So right now, can you send your breath to any parts of your body that you notice? Maybe it's something that feels strong. Maybe it's something that has a little bit of pain right now or discomfort. Maybe you're breathing into an area of your body that doesn't get a lot of attention, that you've forgotten about. Can you send your breath to these places with loving awareness, with nurturing? Feel the energy that your breath creates in your body. Our breath is one of the many foundations to life. One of the many things that happens automatically for us that we often forget about and take for granted. During tense times, we hold our breath, we forget to breathe, and we resist feeling by doing that. So today on your mats, can you tap into your breath, into what you feel, and try your best not to bypass any sensations, but feel into them as fully as you can, and soften with your breath. We never want to lead into pain, so we'll always choose alignment over depth. It's not about how far you can go, how deep you can reach, or how flexible you can be. It's about maintaining your alignment so that you can really feel the pose, feel the alignment. Stay with your Ujjayi breaths today. Stay with the present moment. Because when we ground into our foundation, we create trust that allows us to experience the fullness of what each moment presently has to offer us. You can come on to your hands and knees when you're ready, toes curled under, and begin to pedal out your hands and feet, just like a cat. And you can just stretch the backs of your feet as well. You're pedaling out your hands here. Make sure your fingers are wide. Your thumbs are in a soft J, so they're not too wide, but your fingers are wide, and the front of your wrist crease should be pointing directly forward, so not slightly to the sides of the room. Our fingers are forward, our wrist creases are forward, and the inner lining of our hand here should come to the outer edge of our shoulder. So just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. That's what's going to give you some stability into your foundation. Today we're going to do a lot of stuff just practicing on our hands, but we're not going to put a lot of weight into our hands because I want to teach you the proper aspects of foundation. So the index finger mound of your hand is where you want to root down through primarily. And in order to do that, you might need to create a little bend in your fingers where your fingers are kind of clawing into your mat. So do that for a moment. Feel your fingers clawing into the mat. Maybe that means your knuckles are up and they're not touching the mat, but feel how that plugs your index finger mound into the mat. Create almost a grabbing motion through your palm, from your index finger mound to your thumb mound, and grab with your palms. Suction cup with your fingers. And just paw your hands like this for a moment. Feel the strength, the foundation in your hands. Feel what feels comfortable. Where can you position yourself? In what way so that you can really root down through the correct parts of your hands so you're not injuring your wrist. So we're pawing. Come to stillness onto your hands and rotate. Just lean your weight to the inner corner of your hands, lifting your pinky off the ground. And then rotate to the outer edge of your hands, lifting your index finger off the ground. Rotate, lifting to the outer edge, lifting your pinky and the pinky side of your palm off the ground, and rotate, lifting the inner edge of your palm off the ground. So you can, if having your weight over your wrists is too much for you right now, you can sit back onto your feet a little bit, but just find that rotation and keep just rocking your hands from side to side like this. What that's doing is working little micro muscles that we've forgotten about in our hands. And it's helping us work the little muscles that are going to help us plant our index finger mound into the earth. And that's where we want to put the majority of our weight, because that's where the majority of our strength is. But we just don't typically work the muscles that allow us to have the flexibility to root through the strongest part of our body. So right now we're just rocking. You might be feeling a little warmth or having a little conversation with your wrists. Just keep rocking for a moment. You are strong, you can do it. We move through discomfort to grow, but never into pain. So if you're feeling any pain, definitely stop. You can pause here for a moment and just walk, pawing your hands like a cat. Start turning your fingers to the sides of the room. And then back towards your knees, pawing into the mat, into your foundation, feeling the four corners of your hands. Start sending your fingers towards your knees, giving your wrists a little bit of a stretch. And then walk them back towards the sides of the room, towards the front of the room, and then towards each other inwards. And see if you can get them back towards your knees a little bit. Beautiful. You can sit back onto your feet. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. You did amazing. You can do your rotation of the wrists. Come back up onto your hands and knees, and just without putting any weight, put the backs of your hands onto the mat, and none of your weight is going into the backs of your hands, okay? Begin to sit back towards your feet and just give yourself, maybe just ever so slightly, a little bit of a stretch along the backs of your hands, your arms. Breathe, remember your breath. You can do a little walk with this as well, turning them towards the front of the room, back towards you, turning them outwards, doing less of a walk per se, but just giving yourself a little bit of a stretch. And then what we're going to do as a little bit of a lubricating detox for your hands and wrists, bring your hands above your head, and your arms above your head, and your hands above your head, and your hands should be like this, like you're about to grab a light bulb to screw it in. So I want you with your fingers to screw in the light bulb as much as you can in one direction. Use your fingers to get that twist. So your hands are above your head and you're just twisting here. Your shoulders should be in their sockets so they're not coming up by your ears, okay? And we're just doing this rotation. Do it in both directions. I don't know if you can hear it, but one of my shoulders is cracking a little bit. That's okay. This is just lubricating all our joints. It's creating some drainage, and it's helping with our circulation. Our hands rarely get a break from gravity, so we're just giving them a little bit of a break. I know it feels like a lot on your shoulders. It doesn't look like a big exercise. I know you guys are feeling this. Just keep doing it. You got it. And you can slowly let your hands down through heart center. Beautiful. So we're going to come back on to our hands and knees. Now we've got our proper alignment. We've stretched out our wrists a little bit, given them some juice and love. We're going to inhale, drop your belly, lift your sitting bones and your gaze. And exhale, press into your shoulders, curling towards your tailbone. Cat pose. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your gaze. This is your cow. Exhale, press into your hands, remembering your foundation. This is your cow. Inhale, pulse like this a few more times, following the speed of your own breath. Warming up the spine, creating some movement, and a bit of a stretch. Come to a neutral spine. Press into your hands and lift your knees just an inch off the ground to hover. And slower than you want to, begin to extend back into an inverted V, downward facing dog. And pedal out your feet here. Breathe. Release any tension you're holding in your face. Make sure you're plugging down through the index finger mound of your hand. You might need to claw your fingers more. And slower than you want to, walk your feet up to meet your hands. Maintain a micro bend in your knees so we don't hyperextend. And forward fold over your thighs. Let your torso hang. And you can pedal out your legs here, bending one knee more than the other and just switching it up, feeling the stretch along the backs of your legs. Let your head hang. Your neck is an extension of your spine. Can you nod your head yes? And shake your head no. Feel the stretch along your back as you do that. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins and your shoulder blades onto your back. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Reach your arms up above head. Grasp the air above you and drag that beautiful energy that's abundant in the universe down through your heart and alongside your waist. Bending into your knees, scoop your arms up. Reach for all that energy. Inhale and exhale down through heart center. So I'm going to teach you mountain pose right now. It is the easiest pose in yoga. So it seems very easy. It's just a standing position, but it does require a lot of thought to it. So I'm going to start with the camera pointing at my feet, just so I can explain this. So your feet are going to be in number 11s, which means they are directly parallel to one another. None of your toes should be pointing slightly out to any direction or inwards towards each other. They are perfectly parallel with one another. So look at your ankle creases here and see if they are lining up with the front of your mat. They should be parallel. That also looks like if you draw a line from the center of your ankles down your foot, it looks like your second toe, or right in between your second and third toe, that should be pointing straight ahead. It's underneath your hip bones. So each foot is positioned directly underneath your hip bone. For women, we tend to bring our feet wider because we think our hips are so wide. Well, your hip bones are not as wide as your hips might be. They're actually kind of in the middle here. So see if you can line your feet up right underneath your hip bones. For a moment, just lift your toes and feel the arches of your feet activate. Can you slowly release your toes while maintaining that activation in the arches of your feet? Imagine that you have little fairies, tiny, tiny little fairies that live underneath the arches of your feet. So you need to give them some room to breathe. You don't want to crush your fairies. So today, if you hear me say, save your fairies, I want you to just see if you can activate the arches of your feet. Maybe you'll need to lift your toes, or maybe you can just see if you can isometrically draw the front part of your foot to the back part of your foot without actually doing anything. Just creating that engagement in your muscles. Our knees are soft, so we never hyperextend our knees back like this. We always maintain a soft micro bend. It doesn't even look like my knees are bent right now. It looks like they're straight, but they're always just slightly bent. That doesn't mean they have to be out here, but it definitely means they don't look like this. So your knees are always slightly bent, but that is with a muscular engagement in your knees. So if we ever put some pressure on our knee, it's not going to go back because we have that muscular engagement. We're going to bend into your knees for a second to scoop your tailbone under. Start to stretch your knees up as you draw your belly bone in. Imagine the sides of your body lengthening. So we have our lower half. We're going to our upper half now. So your tailbone is tucked, your belly button is to your spine, you're growing along the sides of your body, your shoulders come up and back, which creates an external rotation of your arms, makes your palms want to be open as opposed to this. So often we're this. We're just protecting our hearts. Today, can you open your heart? Yoga is a practice to open ourselves up to feeling and experiencing. And when we learn to lead with our hearts, we follow our passions and our life's desires rather than living through fear and protecting ourselves. So let's try again from your knees bent. Scoop your tailbone in, begin to straighten your knees, tuck your belly button, elongate, shoulders up and back and open. Now imagine that the nape of your neck right here has a magnet on it, and it's magnetizing to the back wall. So what that does is it makes what we normally stand like, which looks like this, look like this. So what we do is we're just simply drawing our head back slightly, and it does create a slight tuck in your chin, but we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not choking ourselves. We're simply bringing what's this back to this. Because when our heads are sitting directly on top of our spine, like this, we are, the weight that's on our neck is just about 12 pounds. When for every inch that we jet our heads forward, we're like doubling the weight that's sitting on our necks. So you want to know why you have shoulder problems? It's because we're standing like this all the time. We're sitting like this. Bring your shoulders up and back. Magnetize your neck to the wall behind you. So your feet are in number 11s. We're grounding down through the four corners of our feet. Our arches are engaged. Our knees are soft but strong. Our tailbone is tucked. Our belly button is to our spine. Our sides are long. Our shoulders are back and open. And our necks are back. This is your perfect mountain pose. You are a mountain. Sturdy, strong, a beautiful part of the landscape. Nature created you. Feel yourself root from your feet. Close your eyes and breathe for a moment. Imagine visually pulling the energy from the center of the earth up through the ground, all the layers, through your home and into your feet. Draw that energy up your feet, up your legs, into your spine. Feel how it enlivens your body, how it wakes you up, lifts you, Meet that energy with your breath and just feel. Imagine a string running from the crown of your head down through your tailbone, and that the universe is holding the tip of that string and the earth is holding the bottom of that string. And you're in the middle. Just imagine that pull from both ends and feel like you're stretching towards both ends, lengthening both upwards and rooting downwards. Maintain an outward rotation in your hands to make sure that your chest stays open. And just breathe here for a moment. This is your mountain pose. Bend into your knees, reach your arms up, inhale. Exhale, palms together and alongside your waist. Exhale, do this one more time. Inhale. And exhale your hands down through heart center, forward fold, hinge at the hips. Walk your hands out so that you're in a downward facing dog and come into a high plank. Press your hips back into downward dog and walk your hands towards your feet. Maybe you need to bring a micro bend in. Root through your feet and come up to stand. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, bend your knees so that you can do so, and walk your hands out slowly to downward facing dog. Come into a high plank position and back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet. So we're just getting comfortable with our foundation. Inhale, come up. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Let's do this one more time, slower than you want to, much slower than last time. Walk your hands out, downward facing dog. Come into a high plank. And then back to downward dog. Begin walking your hands back. And fold. Just hang here for a moment. Feel that stretch in your low back. When you strengthen the backs of your legs and magnetize them to the wall behind you, you create more of a stretch along your legs and allow your torso to melt just a little bit more. You can bend your knees one at a time, stretching out the backs of your legs, feeling the sides of your back. Inhale, root to rise, sweep your arms up above head and down through heart center. So today's class might not have looked like a lot because we were working on our foundation, but without a strong foundation, we can't build strength through the rest of our bodies that is safe and protects us and actually does us some good. So you might feel some strength in your forearms, some soreness over the next couple of days because we don't work these muscles very often. I just want you to come to a seated position on your mat. This class, I don't know if you sweat. I definitely sweat a little bit, but this class was less about the exercise, the physical act of losing weight or getting muscle, and more about finding our foundation and finding our alignment. So find your sitting bones as you come to a seated position. For the rest of class, we're going to find our inner alignment. Inhale, bring your belly button to spine, root to rise and bring your shoulders up and back, opening your chest, opening your heart. And just breathe for a moment. The practice of yoga is a beautiful practice that allows us to recalibrate, to see what we've been doing, what habits we have, maybe what we've been ignoring, to shift our perspective so that we can see what we miss in the hustle of life, and make sure that everything is in alignment, that our desires are in alignment, that our values are in alignment, that our actions align with those values, with those desires, and with our deepest needs. By coming here, you've created a space where you can take that time to step away and nurture yourself. Just for a moment, tap into that space. Tap into the deepest parts of this moment where you sense yourself, sensing yourself. And just be. Can you maintain your alignment as you relax in this pose? This is your lotus pose. When you're ready, bring your hands to heart center. Bow into your hearts. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming here today. And I thank you for coming today, for joining me. You're helping me along my journey as I try to find strength and alignment and commitment to myself. And it's a blessing to be able to help others do that at the same time. So thank you. The light in me bows to and acknowledges the light in each of you. Namaste. So enjoy the rest of your day and see if for the rest of your day you can find and maintain your alignment. So remember your alignment today and let me know how you feel. Enjoy. Take care.